Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to Facebook live from our Pinhole Quilting showroom. And while you may be just getting a notification on your Facebook that we've gone live, you might be a bit surprised because we've been absent for the past few weeks for various reasons. But we're back. And if you're watching this on catch up, welcome to our Pinhole Quilting showroom. I'm in the little area with my comfy chair, just admiring the selection of threads. And we're going to be talking about that a lot in the next few minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours. I can go on forever about threads. So I hope that you are as passionate about threads as I am. And if you've got a long arm and you've only just started, you will develop that passion for threads because long arm quilting gives you the potential to do so much with your threads. Generally, machine quilting is one of those things where it really transforms a quilt depending on the thread, the design, and the density of the quilting that you select. So we're going to talk a little bit about the threads today. And I've got my little book on superior threads. Superiorthreads.com has also got some very useful reference charts that I've printed out, which I shall be referring to. But our lucky handy quilter owners usually get a sample pack of superior threads when they receive their long arm to play with and to try. So if you are one of those handy quilter owners that has an unopened pack of superior threads, now is your opportunity to get it out and try the different threads inside. Just do a small project, have a play, and find out what you like, what you love, and what you don't like about the stitching that you create. There are times when a particular thread is suitable for the project, and perhaps times when it isn't, and it might be too thick and dominant, or too fine and just doesn't give enough oomph to your project. So with that in mind, we're going to go through a few of the different superior threads that we've got available. Now, to make an extra incentive for you to watch this, we're actually putting in place a 15% discount on our superior threads up until 12 noon next week. So you've got a whole week to play with that pack that you might have received, or to have a look at this video, to have a look at the superior threads on our website, and consider which of those threads you might like to play with and benefit from the 15% discount. So I hope that you join us on this thread ride as we investigate and interrogate and consider all the different things that you might be able to do with thread on your quilt. Right, Pete, have we got anybody that we want to say hi to? Or because I didn't do an email about this.
Yeah, we've got a few people online. The only person who said hello so far is Lisa Walters.
Oh, Lisa. It was so lovely. Now, we had 2 days of foundation workshops this week, and Lisa and her mum came along, and they were working on the Moxie and the Simply 16 on Tuesday and on Wednesday, and it was just lovely to see Lisa. And I hope that you've gone home full of enthusiasm and lots of ideas of what you can do on your machine.
She says that she and Angela really enjoyed the course.
Oh, that's good. It was lovely to see you both again. Really, really lovely. And yeah, I've got to follow up with you, Lisa, which you know what I'm talking about, of course. And I will be following up on that and getting back to you. Okay.
And Helen and Jeff are online from the Cloth House as well.
Fantastic. Helen and Jeff, who we saw when we were up in the Newcastle Quilt Show. And one of the reasons that Pete and I have been in absentia, is that how you say it?
Yes.
That is it. That's okay, isn't it? I can say it now. Was because we were up at Newcastle, then we were at Malvern, the Malvern Quilt Show. Then we all got COVID, and then we had Pro Stitcher Advanced, and there was just not a moment left in the day to do anything else. And now we're today. That's our 4 weeks, isn't it? Pretty much, Pete. And in between, you've been up in Scotland. I've been way down in Kent, and we've been here, there, and everywhere.
We have.
So. Indeed. Seeing customers, installing machines. Pete, you've been very busy actually. Before we get onto this, should we just have a little reprise and consider what you've been doing?
Yes, why not? Because we are still installing machines really from Festival of Quilts, although we're almost up to date with those now. And I installed an Amara for Jill up in Cumbria, in a beautiful Cumbrian converted barn, in a fantastic space for her. And then I drove up to Pennycook near Edinburgh.
Is that how you say it?
Pennycook, yes.
Pennycook.
Pennycook, I'm sure with a better Scottish accent.
Yeah,
but,
well, we don't have to imitate.
with Pennycook, and that was for a customer who was upgrading from a different brand of machine. And it's worth just mentioning that one actually, because one of the key reasons she upgraded is she said her previous machine only really liked one type of thread, and she could only use one type of thread. And one of the main reasons she bought a Handy Quilter was that she saw on our stand somebody demonstrating how many different threads she could use. So when I did the installation with her, I focused on lots of different threads, and we went through, in fact, a lot of the superior threads. We did 40 weight, we did cotton, we did polyester, we did 60 weight, we did 80 weight, we did 100 weight. We did monopoly, and she was amazed that they all just went easily through the machine, and setting the tension was straightforward, and she was one happy person.
You need to do a demo, Pete.
Do I?
On doing what you just did. But we won't do it this week. He's throwing down the gauntlet.
But it was very straightforward. And then I was down in the Borders installing a Moxie XL in a lovely building there as well, which was great. So I had a really good trip.
Yes. No, it's really good. And then we also, excuse me, I might struggle actually, Pete. Because I've been talking all week.
Drink.
I could do with a drink actually, yeah. Thank you. I just feel like I'm about to cough. Yes, so the other thing is that we put up a video that Pete he was in the video. I mean, the customer was doing the time lapse, which was brilliant. For her installation, she's an experienced long armer, and she's now got set up with her Amara Pro Stitcher in a beautiful space, and she's going to be doing quilting as a business, which is fabulous, absolutely fabulous. And we wish you all the best with that, Tracy. And Te Amo Quilting. Well, we've got a website. You know, of course we've got a website. Who doesn't have a website? We've got a website, but actually on a page on the website is a list of the long arm quilting services. Now we'll be expanding that because actually we've installed quite a lot of machines recently where people are doing it as a business. So we will be adding Tracy and various other people to the list. Okay, let's dig into our quilting selection. Now, in this area here, oh, thank you. Can I just grab some? Thank you. Cheers. You see, that's what happens when you talk all week. And we met up with Carolyn last night, didn't we? We just kept talking all evening as well, Pete. So
yes.
Yes, the lovely Carolyn. If she's watching this on playback, she was teaching with me, and Katie was assistant in the classroom. Pete was on hand, and Mark, and Michelle, and on Thursday, Pauline. And it was just great to have everybody here. We've expanded, haven't we, Pete? I mean, this year, 2024, gosh, things have changed quite a lot. So, you know, there's a lot more people helping out, and it's fantastic. And there was such a buzz here on Wednesday and Thursday on our foundation workshops. And thank you to everybody who travelled from far and wide. One lady came over from Northern Ireland, and last week we had people from Pro Stitcher. We had Mary Lou with her beautiful peanut butter, who came down from Stornoway. So people from literally far and wide, from Kent. We had some from Kent yesterday, and all over. So thank you very much. I hope that you feel more confident in your quilting, and that one of the things that you will do as a takeaway from that is try some of these other threads. So we've got that 15% discount, well worth taking advantage of. Okay. Anything else you want to say, Pete?
Yeah, a few more people have found us. Just quickly there, that time lapse that Tracy did of me doing the installation this week, it is good fun, isn't it? It's only a short watch, but
it's really.
I mean,
amazing.
I feel as if I'm moving fast when I put a frame together, but not that fast.
Speed of light, Pete. No, it's absolutely brilliant.
So let's say
very
hello
efficient.
to Pat in Wisconsin. So Pat, finally, after 2 years seemingly of talking about your election, at least we don't have to talk about the American election any longer. That's good, isn't it? Carol's online. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
Janice Collett says, hello, Liz. I enjoyed our chat at Malvern.
Great. Hi, Janice.
And Anne Rose. Hi, Anne, up in Preston.
Oh, yeah. Anne, yes.
Helen.
I hope she's getting on well.
Helen says, yes, please. Helen Wycherley says, hello, yes, please, to Pete's thread demo.
Yes.
Graham.
We need that next week, don't we? After everybody's got their thread. so they can know how
Yeah,
to use
why
it.
not?
Let's do that. Let's do that.
And Graham's online as well and says, am I on the list? I maybe missed that part, but maybe you're talking about on the list for us on one of our travels, Graham. Yes, you definitely are on that list.
Oh, you're on that list.
I don't know if you're on any other list
No,
or whether I've missed something.
Yeah, we can't possibly comment, Graham.
And hello to Isabel in Spain.
Ah, Isabel, who we met, Isabel and her husband, at Festival of Quilts, right?
You did.
Fantastic. I hope you're well, Isabel. Now, we have got a beautiful selection of thread. We should just leave this chair here because we moved things around and we had an extras frame because we had 9 stand-up long arm customers on Wednesday. And we had to move this chair out. And I think this is a rather nice place to just reside. So anyway, let's talk about the first one. We're going to go from the thickest to the finest. That makes sense, doesn't it? And that's how we've got them arranged around here. So we're going to start with King Tut. Now I've got, oh, I'm making a bit of a noise there. Sorry about that. King Tut. There we go. King Tut, it comes on, these are the unwrapped versions. We've got the wrapped ones there. One of our favourite, well, Carolyn and my favourite variegations is Paradise. Okay, so King Tut comes in solids, classic, white.
That is a gorgeous
It is.
colour variation.
Yeah.
And it's your sort of colours, really, Liz, isn't it, too?
It is, isn't it?
Greens and blues and
Yeah, my
purples.
favourites. I mean, it comes in classic solids like Temple, which is white.
Yeah,
so,
it's slightly off-white, isn't it, Temple,
It is.
which is very nice.
Yes. Is that, what's that one? Is that Temple? Oh, that's Morning Sky. Oh, yeah, Morning Sky. Wow. So beautiful, Morning Sky. So, yeah, we've got both variegated and solids. We've got a selection, kind of what we thought would be, like my favourites. Okay, admit it. No, but also ones that I thought other people might like. Variegations are short, which is lovely, because it means that you're not sort of faced with a huge chunk of purple followed by a huge chunk of green. The purple variegation literally is from there to there, then it goes green, then it goes to blue, so really short. These transformations, that's actually a very important thing. It's not blocky as well. It's a subtle change from one colour to the next. Again, that's really, really important. And on the whole, we've gone for ones where we feel that these are some of our best-selling colours. I mean, this is gorgeous as well. Look at that one. Wisteria Lane. So, King Tut. I mean, I've used King Tut for a long, long time. And Superior Threads has been around for quite a long time. But in terms of my favourite threads, it's definitely up there. One of the reasons would be that when you're looking for a nice defined quilting stitch, it takes that box. It's a 40 weight, 3-ply thread. And just as a reminder, if you were here on the foundation workshop this week, you will have heard us talking about weight and ply. But if you weren't and you haven't been on our foundation workshop yet, then when we talk about weight, it's always been very confusing, isn't it? You've got needle sizes, you've got weight of thread, you've got machine needles versus hand needles, and is it a bigger number, is a thinner or a thicker? It can be very confusing. So what we've got is basically, for a given weight, say a kilo, it's how many meters that you need of a thread to match that given weight. So the finer the thread, the more meters you need. It's as simple as that. So when we talk about a 12 weight thread, on our machines, that's pretty much the limit for a single strand of thread that we would put through a needle. And we go all the way up to 100 weight.
So 12 weight is very thick, quite thick.
Very, very thick. In fact, I've just got a sample through the post for an industrial application, potentially for our machines, where they are maybe using it through Hessian. 12 weight polyester through Hessian, 2 layers, to make concrete forms. Not quilting, but you never know what our machines get used for. So they get used for a variety of applications, you'd be surprised. So King Tut, 40 weight, the 3-ply element of it means 3 strands twisted together. It's a very smooth thread. It's made from Egyptian long staple cotton. And you might say, well, what's the difference between Egyptian cotton and any other cotton you might find? And the length of the staples, i.e. the fibres, makes all the difference. And the perfect growing conditions apply within Egypt to make that cotton some of the best, if not the best in the world. And in fact, Egyptian long staple cotton is so prized that it demands a premium price. Hence, King Tut is not the King Tut like that is not the cheapest of threads by any means, but it's made from certified Egyptian long staple cotton. Cotton that's from some places in North America where you get cotton growing are much shorter staple. The conditions aren't necessarily suitable for the same sort of cotton that's grown in Egypt. I seem to remember going to a talk by Bob Purcell, who is at Superior Threads, and Bob Purcell said that Egypt every year exports more Egyptian long staple cotton than it can possibly produce. So you do have to go to a certified source, and that makes such a huge difference. The strength of that thread. When we first started selling long arms, we used King Tut all the time because it was just such a reliable thread. So beautiful. Now it will create more lint than something like one of our other favorites, which is Glide, which is a polyester, trilobal polyester. And what you need to do is after every quilt, you'll just need to clean out your bobbin area with your brush. With some machines, you can use canned air, or you could use like a computer sucking thing. A hoover on the end of your hoover. Pete, have you got any questions, or shall I just keep talking away about?
No, Graham's question about whether he was on the quilting list or not. You're not actually at the moment, Graham, but you're very welcome to be put on our quilters.
He's not on the list.
No, I'll send you some details. You just need to send us some information, Graham, and we'll list you.
Absolutely. So King Tut, it comes in 500-yard spools and 2,000 yard. Okay, so big cones, they fit nicely on the machines on the cone pin. If you're using this one, now this is straight wound, but I have successfully put it on a cone pin and done it vertically, so you don't necessarily need a horizontal spool pin, but if you have one, you can use it on that. Horizontal wound versus cross wound thread. So King Tut, lovely, lovely thread, absolutely beautiful. And let's face it, it stitches out beautifully. So I've got an example that I stitched a few weeks ago. This is one of the fabrics that we've designed ourselves. I did this one with Carolyn, and this is the thread that I used. The King Tut is what I used to do all of this. I did this on a sit down. I did it on the Moxie ST. Okay, so that's that thread there, and doesn't it go beautifully? Let's talk next about Omni. So Omni threads. Now these are very, very big spools. Anybody who's running quilting as a business, particularly in the States, this is a very popular thread. It's incredibly affordable, huge, chunky cones, 6,000 yards. 6,000 yards on that. We've got it in a selection of very basic colours. But Omni, it's a 30 weight thread. It's a poly wrap, poly core, very strong. So for long armors, that's a really effortless thread to use. Now it is quite linty. I've got some examples here, which actually you'll see better than just regular.
But it's got a matte look, hasn't it?
That's
the
why
big
people
difference.
like it. So instead of going for something like the Glide with the trilobal, this would create more of a cottonized look, a cotton look, with a poly wrap, poly core thread, and it's a defined look, and it's really consistent, and it's a very strong thread. So Omni, that's a good option for people who want to do long arming, perhaps in a solid colour, and just have lots on hand, ready for doing pretty standard colours. As I say, we've gone for the greys are great for sort of fixing in and mixing in with even with a light grey. That one is.
So this is you can see that it's matte here, and it looks like cotton, but it's polyester.
Yeah, here's another example.
Much
this is
much cheaper than cotton, though, of course, for the equivalent.
Oh yeah.
Weight.
It's a bluey grey, that one. I don't think we've got those colours, but it just shows you the type of thread.
And to answer a question that's just come in, yes, if it says number 40 on the top of the cone, that is the thread weight. That means 40 weight. So you'll be using either a size 16 or a size 18 needle on your long arm.
Yeah, so on the bottom of that spool, that cone, you'll see two bits of information. One shows you the weight and the ply, and well, it shows you also the colour and the number. But the other one shows what needle to use on a domestic or a long arm machine. Okay, now
this is how Superior Threads label theirs.
Yeah, so I'll talk about how we work that all out. And if you're here on the Foundation Workshop, you'll know all about this. So we create tables for our combinations, our thread combinations. And it's important when we thread up our machines that we know what the weight of the thread is so that we can determine the needle. That is what decides on the needle. The groove of the needle is basically shielding the thread as it goes through the fabric and then raising slightly to create a loop to form the quilting stitch. And if it's too big for that groove that runs down the front of the needle, it starts shredding. And that's the start of your thread breaking. Because every time, I'm going to ask you a question, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
Every time a stitch is formed, how many times does the thread go through the fabric and back up again before it actually makes a stitch?
The thread, the same piece of thread typically goes down and back up through the fabric, maybe about 30 times.
There you go. That's why it's really important to match the thread to the needle.
Yes, and it goes through the eye of the needle 30 times, the same bit of thread. And people don't know that, and that is really an interesting
It's a very interesting, yeah, it is. So if we've got a needle that's got a fault in it in terms of the eye getting damaged or any sort of chafing or the groove is too small, that's going to cause you problems. Okay.
So even though your stitch might be just 1/12 of an inch long, to form that stitch, there's a lot of thread that has to go down into the bobbin hook, get looped all the way around the bobbin hook and then pulled back up again to form one stitch. And then a lot of the same piece of thread has to go down through the fabric again, round the bobbin hook. So several inches of thread are going backwards and forwards each time for 1/12 of an inch stitch to be formed.
Yes. So it's not just guesswork knowing which size needle. On the Superior Threads website, I've just been on their website and printed this off. This is under Education. It's the last tab on the top tabs of superiorthreads.com. You'll find a long arm machine thread reference guide. And it shows for every thread that Superior do what size needle they would recommend, what the thread is recommended for, a brief description, and some notes about sort of extra bits that you might want to know in terms of choosing the thread. So for example, let's just take that King Tut. So King Tut, it's an 18 needle that we would use with that one. And I pretty much don't change from that. I don't think I've ever used a 16 on King Tut. It would just cause it to chafe. It says very low lint. I mean, you do get lint, it's cotton. Nature's finest thread. They're very modest, but it is beautiful because it's cotton. Then we've got the Omni. So the Omni is it's 40 weight, it's 30 tex. They use this thing called tex, which is equivalent to 40 weight. And it's also an 18 needle. So cleaner and stronger than other polycore threads, apparently. Okay, now we're going to move on to something very similar to Glide, is Magnifico and Fantastico. So two threads that are either variegated or plain. Magnifico is the plain version of Fantastico, and it's a 40 weight trilobal polyester, very similar to Glide. But actually we use a slightly bigger needle for that. For that I normally use an 18. Let's see what they put on here. They use an 18. There we go. Yep, 18 for both of those. So let's just show you that one. I've got some samples in my basket of Magnifico. Let's just show you a few of these. I love, the solids are beautiful. Okay, I don't think we've got this one. We can get any of these colours in anyway, can't we? That's a gorgeous one. Love that. Blue, that's a lovely iridescent blue. Magnifico. What we've also got on the Fantastico then is the variegated equivalent of Magnifico. And this is pretty similar to Paradise, but in a shiny thread. So if you would love to have some shine in your quilt and you want a variegated thread, Fantastico is a great way to go. Let's look at the label on this one. So this one says recommended needle, long arm, it's an 18. Top stitch would be a 90/14. All right. And when you get your samples of the threads from Superior, you normally get an explanation in a little booklet of what the thread is used for. So let's just look up Fantastico. Variegated 40 weight, high strength, high sheen, trilobal polyester thread. Designed for embroidery, would be great for embroidery as well. Be lovely for a satin stitch because it's got these really short variegations for quilting and decorative stitching. And we've got it in the big cones, 2,000 yard cones. Right. Check out all those beautiful variegated Fantasticos. Have we had a close up, Peach? Should we get a close up? Up there.
So as Liz mentioned, a number of these colours are very similar to the King Tut variegations, but this is polyester with a sheen. But you can get very similar colour gradations as you do with King Tut.
Now, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say that it's sometimes easier to set the tension correctly with the polyester variegated than it is with the cotton variegated.
That is true actually. So there's a reason for that. In terms of the way that the thread absorbs dye, the cotton, being a natural fibre, really absorbs the dye. So what you can find is, if we take, for example, I'm not saying don't use the thread, but if we take, for example, this one, which is black and white and grey, you've got very, very strong differences between the black and the white.
Yeah.
And that can mean the amount of dye that has been absorbed by the thread changes the thickness of the thread. So as it goes through those tension discs, it can affect the end result. So on some bits of your quilting, you may see that the bobbin thread, if you look on the back, you've got your bobbin thread, and then you've got your top thread, and it might be showing a little bit of the top thread in some areas for some of the variegation, but not others. Now, it is very difficult when it's a very different thread colour, so say going from red, black to yellow, or something like this, you've got a certain amount of difference between that thickness that will mean that your tension is harder to achieve.
Having said that, it's not always a problem because I tried that with my Edinburgh customer, and she had a sample of a really strongly variegated King Tut thread, and it was exactly the black, red, yellow, green,
that one. Yeah.
That one. And we tried it, and it was no problem at all.
No problem at all. But if you consider that there are a few different ways you can get around that, if you do, we always say test, don't guess anyway. So whenever you're picking a thread, test out on a sample piece using the same fabric, the same wadding, the same backing that you're going to use on your quilt, and see if your quilting design looks right with that colour, particularly if it's a variegation. And then if you do that, and perhaps you haven't even got your quilt loaded at this point, you might find that you want to change your bobbin thread to match the problem colour, the one that's showing through, and then you don't see it. Or you change your backing fabric and you make it a really swirly, whirly design that nobody's going to be able to see anything on anyway. So there's a couple of options for you. But overall, I would say there's very, very few problems. We used to use, I tell you what, when we used to use this one a lot, this is it Joseph's? Oh, Nefertiti, which is a beautiful one. I've used that a lot and had very, very few issues with it. And it's really different. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a really good one. Okay, so we're going to move on now to So Fine. So Fine is beautiful. And I was talking to Carolyn about this. Carolyn does quilt for others. And as a result, she's got, she's working her way through different threads and stuff, and has basically focused on So Fine for her quilting, because she finds that matte look, now here we're talking polyester, it's a 50 weight, it's a 3-ply, so it looks like a cotton thread, but it's actually got this lovely dullness to it, but it still comes in yummy colours. So here we go. This one here is, this is it's 50 weight 3-ply obviously, but it's 3,280 yards, about 3,000 meters. And it also comes in variegations as well. Gorgeous, gorgeous colours, as you can see behind me. Absolutely lovely. The So Fine is lush, absolutely lush. I mean, take, for example, some of these more recent colours are fabulous. This one, I mean, I'm a bit of a sucker for these. Like that one.
Oh, I think of the whole range of threads. I think the colours of the So Fine are absolutely fabulous. They look so good together. I'll get a close up in a moment.
Yeah, it's beautiful to use. It's really consistent, and it's a good price point. And if you're looking for that cotton look, I think, you know, 50 weight. It's not a dominating color thread in terms of its weight. It's a nice fine thread, but it still looks really nicely quilted.
It's a very popular thread with our long armours. So fine. Look at those gorgeous colours.
Yeah, I know Joe Avery's used it quite a lot. Our Moxie mentor, Joe Avery, she uses the Moxie XL now, and she loves the So Fine. Okay, so that's 50 weight 3-ply. We're getting finer and finer now. We're going to go to bottom line.
Let me give you a question first that's come in, Liz.
All right, nothing difficult. What's the gross
this is the
national
thing
product
with
of
live
Nigeria?
questions.
I have no idea. Okay.
The thing with live questions, you don't know what's going to be thrown your way.
It's like mastermind from the lights go down.
So this is from Gillian Ferguson, who's bought some gold superior thread at Newcastle. But she struggled to wind the bobbin as the hole at the top of the cone meant that it bounced around too much, fell off and broke the thread. When she tried using a net, the thread got caught in it and again broke the thread. Any tips, please?
You're giving me that?
Yeah, so it's the hole on the superior threads cones is much wider. She says it was a gold one. I don't know if it was metallic or just a standard.
Okay.
But the point is the way that they have their cones wound, they've got a very wide opening, don't they?
They do.
Unlike some other brands.
So you're suggesting if we use a bit
I'm suggesting if...
I've never tried it.
No, but this is my theory.
He's asking me the question, and then he's proffering
I'm giving you... There we are. I have a tip.
He's making a suggestion of how to remedy it, but with something I haven't actually tested myself. I think we need to test that out.
I think it would work because what you're trying to do is to stop the cone from moving around on the thinner spool pin on the bobbin winder. It's being pulled around. So if you put some...
Okay. My question would be, which bobbin winder is this? Can we find out? What machines Gillian got? Is it the Moxie or the...
Can't remember.
Okay, because that does make a little difference because of how the cone... I'm just going to say that it may be the setup because the cone thread should just be drawn up and not make the cone do that. I think we need more information. Just saying.
But it might work if you put some wadding down in the centre of the...
Pete's suggesting putting some wadding, Gillian, in the middle of your cone. Okay, try that. But if you need more help, do not hesitate to send either a video or a picture of your setup and we may be able to advise you more. There we go. I needed more information. And I'm not going to make an assumption.
No, on that subject list, we did talk about maybe having a sort of Q&A session, didn't we?
We did. I think, and I think that's something that we might ask customers who are on now, or perhaps who watch it on catch up. Would this be useful? I'm not suggesting an open Facebook session because that doesn't necessarily work, but a Zoom that is organised in advance so you can elect to join in, no charge, but we would do it as a freebie for our customers. And it would be basically a Q&A of any issues that you've got and we can see how it goes. You could ask them in advance or something so that we could actually prepare. That would be good, wouldn't it, I think? We did talk about doing something like that.
Gillian's got a Moxie, so...
Yeah.
But it's a question of whether she's got the smaller Moxie bobbin winder or whether she's got the...
It's probably the Moxie bobbin winder, I think. So if it's the Moxie bobbin winder, make sure that you have extended your cone holder, your cone extender.
The thread mast, yes.
Thank you. All the way as far as it will go. And then if you can just sort of maybe do a little short video, have a look. But try the wadding.
Try my solution, Gillian. I'm confident.
Pete's confident, and he's quite bullish about this now. He feels like he has your solution. Should you wish to accept it, your task is to get a cone that doesn't wobble
There we
around.
are. But you're still the guinea pig, Gillian. You're the one
you
who's
are.
going to have to do the testing.
Yeah, we don't know for sure, so you're going to have to try it out. Okay, great. Do that. Now, bottom line. Bottom line's an interesting one. Here's some examples of bottom line, because it's called bottom line being bobbin, bottom, but you can use it in the top. Comes in lush colours. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, we got both of those. Good. And these will go fantastically on our rulers and fills class sample.
Yeah, they would work pretty well with that top thread, wouldn't they?
That's gorgeous.
Top thread on the left.
So in your bobbin, bottom line, on the top, King Tut. Beautiful combination. 60 weight polyester thread. So it's nice and fine. You can load up your bobbin with plenty of thread. You can put it through the needle, and why not? I even know some people who piece with it.
It's very strong, actually, isn't it?
Strong.
For a 60 weight thread. I'm just trying to break
strong.
it here. It is quite tough.
Oh, it is. It's really good. It's very reliable. And I mean, again, going back before we had glide and all our other options, and threads have really come on in the past few years. We used to use bottom line all the time with King Tut on the top. So tried and tested combination, 18 needle on the top, bottom line in your bobbin, away you go. All right, so that's a lovely one. And it comes in lots of beautiful colours. Da, 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 da. Then we're going to move on to our finest thread, which is in the Superior Threads range, is Micro Quilter. Micro Quilter is awesome. Absolutely awesome. And the reason I say that is because it's a very, you don't have to get your thread colour absolutely matching because it's so fine. So as long as you get something fairly neutral with your colours, the Micro Quilter works brilliantly. Needle-wise, if you can use a 12, use a 12 needle, so nice and fine. Otherwise, you'll use a 14. In terms of pretensioners, that's the 3 holes that come from the cone mast. You're coming down, you might have a little guide if you've got an Amara with a Moxie going straight into the top of the pretensioner, 3 holes, and you're going straight into the top hole and then down to the guide and into the tension disc. So just 1 hole for this thread. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do next week, not now, is do a little table of just Superior threads with our settings for like how many holes in the pretensioner, what's our favourite bobbin thread to use with that thread, etc. Because I think that could be a really useful table. It's kind of like an extension of what we have in the foundation workshop notes. Okay.
So Helen's asking,
Yep.
do you use the same weight top and bottom in your machine? And my initial answer to that, I'll let Liz give you the detailed answer, is that in 8 years, Helen, I've never ever used the same weight of thread in the top and bottom of the Handy Quilter machines that I've used.
Yeah.
They've always been different.
Yeah. I have. I've used glide in the top and glide in the bottom.
But you don't have to.
But you absolutely don't have to. And there are reasons why it's a good option to not use glide in the top and bottom. And in fact, that combination of King Tut 40 weight 3 ply with the bottom line 60 weight is a fantastic combination because you get more on your bobbin before you have to change it. It's more economic to not be running King Tut on the bottom as well as the top, but you get the effect of the cotton and then a nice quilted look on the back.
I think there's an argument that you get a better quality stitch as well if you have a slightly finer bobbin thread than you do top thread, because it helps to catch the top thread better and make a better stitch. So I think there's an argument for that.
There is an argument for that. And I remember years ago talking to Kimmy Bruner, who's a Handy Quilter ambassador at the time. And Kimmy said one of the things that she does is she's got glide in the top. She would use Primo Soft, which is the sort of furry cotton look matte version polyester of that the glide manufacturer makes, because it grabs the glide if you have it in the bobbin. So you've got slick thread, trilobal polyester, like Fantastico and Magnifico, in the top, but a furry bobbin fill in the bottom. Great combination. Absolutely great. So that's a really good question, Helen. Thank you for that. Okay. So we were talking about microquilts. I'm just going to refer to my book and have a look, see if there's anything that they have to add before I get on to metallics. Oh, we're going to talk about monopoly as well.
Yes.
Microquilter, 100 weight, 2-ply polyester thread. Designed for machine applique, fine detailed quilting, stitch in the ditch, and micro stippling. It's an extremely fine thread that can be sewn with a very small needle, rendering the thread virtually invisible. It's noticeably strong, especially considering its fine diameter. Now, they say recommended recommended needle is a 16 on that. I wouldn't use a 16. I'd use a 14. In fact, they counter that because in this booklet, which is theirs, they put 14.
Yeah,
so that's,
I would use 14
yeah,
for that.
it might even be. It might just be wrong on that spool microquilter. 14 or 16. They do both on there. They're covering the bases. All right. Then we're going to move on. We're going to talk about monopoly. Monopoly.
Yes. So you said that was your finest thread, but it isn't, is it, in the superior range? Because monopoly is...
I don't know. This is done in microns. 0.004, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, so it's not done in weight terms, is it?
It's the same. It's 100 weight.
Is it?
Yes, that's what it says here. Now, I've always understood it
feels
in
finer,
microns.
doesn't it? If you actually sort of run it between your fingers compared to... And maybe that's because it's sort of slick rather than this.
It might be. Yeah, so this is a huge amount on here. This is how it comes.
It's ever so popular, this thread.
Oh, yeah. What? The
monopoly.
Oh, of course, yeah, absolutely.
But I have to say I've not used it, so I'd like to know where you would use something like monopoly.
Okay, so I mean, years ago, the monopoly was incredibly popular when people first really got into machine quilting. Because say you've got huge amount of variety of thread of fibres and fabrics, and you want to do a quilting design that goes all over it, and you cannot make a decision about what colour to go with.
Okay.
You can't see it. Yeah. It just looks quilted.
So it is pretty much a clear thread, isn't it?
It is. And the thing is, some at the time, and I'm talking like 20, 25 years ago when we first started using invisible monofilament, some was very, very wiry and difficult to use, like fishing line, and some was extremely high gloss. So I think it depended on where they were getting the thread from. I have used slightly more matte invisible monopoly than this, monopoly style thread than this. This is kind of not as shiny as some, but not as matte as others. So there are different ones. But as a result, I mean, once it's in your quilt, it doesn't look like you've used a thread. It's so fine, it just looks quilted. It's great. You okay?
Yeah, and there's 10,000 yards on one of these.
10,000 yards.
So there's a huge amount. It's very economical. There's a huge amount on there.
Yeah, they come in smaller spools. We've got to get some more in of the small spool because they're sold out. It comes in 2 colours. So there's a clear, but also
it's like a smoke.
It's called dark smoke. And this is really good on much darker fabrics. So if you had got a quilt that was predominantly dark threads, I would definitely go smoke. Because the lighter one can shine too much. It can show up too much. Buy one of each, and then you can choose when you're doing your quilt. All right, next we're going to do metallic. Are we doing metallic next? We are. Oh, we've got the fusible thread as well up there. I think we'll do a separate thing on that. We won't talk about fusible right now.
No, that's
we'll do it
specialist, isn't it?
It is specialist. But and there's some very good videos on it. Oh, and by the way, did I bring over the Hugo's Amazing Tape?
No,
I've got some here. I've got it on quite a few of these spools. Hugo's Amazing Tape is a clear tape that wraps around your cones and keeps the thread tidy, because this drives me nuts. We have loads and loads of thread here that we use for the classes, and then I spent hours and hours tidying it up. And putting Hugo's invisible.
So here's Hugo's amazing tape. It comes in 1/2 inch thickness, as you can see here, and this is...
Oh, we have got the thicker one.
1 inch thickness. This is our sample. I do think we've got the thicker ones.
Oh, that's the thicker one than that, yeah.
Yeah. So look at this. There's about 1 centimetre's thickness of tape on this, and it's so clear. Look, if you look through it, you can see the printing that's on the white inner cardboard here. It just looks very slightly grey purple, but it's completely clear.
So it's a really good way, the thick one and the thin one.
Yeah, we do have this thicker one as well, which is 2 inches.
We got that too?
I think we have, yes.
Oh, okay.
Let me just check. Check which thicknesses we have got in.
Yeah, because Pete and I have found alternative uses for our bikes, haven't we?
we have.
Protect the paintwork when we're transporting them. Very handy. For all those people who've got biking husbands, or if they're into biking as well, that might be another use for it. Anyway, this is the Hugo's amazing tape, so I can spend many a happy hour just sitting here, winding my threads, making sure the ends aren't loose. No, don't do that. The metallics then. So this is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Superior metallics. I'm going to say they're my favourite. Can I say that? They're my favourite.
I told somebody yesterday at the class that they were looking at which metallic to go for. I said, well, Superior thread is Liz's favourite.
It is my favourite. I did a quilt for my niece, who is now, Olivia's how old she is? 25, 26, I think. And she was only 2 or 3 when I made this quilt. It was all satin stitched, stars and moons, big quilt, and that satin stitching was all done in metallics, and I used every manufacturer that was available at that time, including Superior, and this was my most favourite, least problematic metallic thread. That wasn't on a long arm, but it was on my Bonina, and it's really good. Now, this is my personal cone that I bought umpteen years ago, and we've used it for so many foundation workshops since, and it's still going strong because it is 3,280 yards, and it's amazing. It just keeps going on and on. I keep wondering if I've replaced it, but I don't think I have. Then we've got the smaller cones, these ones as well, which are called, I think these are mini cones, aren't they? Yeah, mini cones, and we've also got spools. Got spools? No, we've just got mini cones.
Yeah, just those 2 sizes.
Oh, just got these 2 sizes at the moment. We will probably
expand the range.
We will expand our range. This was like our initial. We started doing this at Foundation at the Festival of Quilts. When you use any fine thread, and particularly metallic threads, you need a thread net. So thread net. We were doing this yesterday with there's a couple of ladies from Birmingham City University who've got a long arm quilter, and they were here doing the foundation workshop. And sometimes when I'm putting this on, the thread net on, I do it from the long way around, but it's actually a lot easier to do it from the bottom and go all the way up. And then it just pulls out the top. Like that. So what's nice is that then your thread doesn't fall off the cone, get wrapped around the cone pin, jam, break, which is very frustrating. So that is our Superior Threads metallic. And we've got them in some beautiful metallic colours and variegated metallics as well. Perfect for the Christmas season. So ending on a Christmas thread. Pete, have you got any more questions?
No, not online, no.
Okay, great. Well, I think that's pretty much me on thread, but we've got some other things we wanted to share with you as well. I'll take that off that thread net and wrap it so it doesn't fall apart. We've got a busy old week coming up again. We're not doing classes, but we've got a FAF open day on Wednesday. So let me just tell you a bit more about that. So the FAF open day, is Wednesday, the 13th of November, here at our Pinhole Quilting showroom. We will have demonstrations of machine quilting on domestic machines. So we've got Louise Harrison from FAF coming. She'll be demonstrating a lovely range of FAFs, the domestic machines and overlockers as well. We've got some gorgeous overlockers. And we've also got the other ones here. Juki and Janome and Katie will be able to demonstrate those for you. So if you're in the market for a new domestic machine, or you just want a nice, fun couple of hours out, come along. We'll be doing rolling machine quilting demonstrations using the machines. And we'll be showing you and sharing with you some of our techniques. Have a play with some of the threads that we've just demonstrated. And we'll have 15% off the superior threads, won't we? Well, they're here.
We will, yes.
Yeah.
Can I just say on that subject, yes, so if you're a retail customer, you can order online now until midday next Friday and get 15% off. Yep. If you are a professional long armer or you have a quilt shop, then please contact us and we may be able to offer you a wholesale account for superior threads and indeed glide thread.
Yes.
Conditions apply. You have to put a minimum order quantity in, but there is a good wholesale discount available for professional customers and businesses.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you, Pete. The other thing that we've got coming up, very exciting, because we've got an open day with Stuart Hillard. Stuart will be doing a talk. He'll be bringing his quilts from his latest book, and he'll be talking all about quilting and machine quilting on domestic through to quilting on long arms, because he's done it all and taught a lot over the years. So have a fun morning or afternoon. We've already got quite a lot of people coming, so I think there's still spaces, but book sooner rather than later if you don't want to be disappointed. It's £10 to book, but you get it back on the day against any purchases, and I hope that we've tempted you with some of these lovely, lush threads.
So how do we book?
You book online at handyquilter.co.uk, which is our main website for booking and ordering products that you can get delivered to your door. There we go. I think that's it, Pete. So thank you for everybody who spontaneously watched as we spontaneously came on board this afternoon. Well, it's the first afternoon we've had free, really. But yeah, we hope that we will see you again soon. Look out for potentially next week doing demos on the threads that we've shown you today. And also, if you're a long arm quilting customer of Pinhole Quilting, look out also for, in the future, any sessions that we might be doing Zoom Q&A, so that we can cover any of those questions that you might have on a Zoom session instead, which is a lot easier for us to do 2 cameras. Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time, everybody. And don't forget, 15% discount off until Friday, the 15th of November at midday.
All superior threads that we have in stock.
Yes. Thanks very much. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope that you're all quilting something or doing something crafty or doing something lovely this weekend. Have a wonderful time, whatever it is. Bye now.